This is obviously you're taking on a lead role as well as being a producer on this film. How do you find balancing the two of those?
Well, I'm not the type of actor who can act without producing, like I can't, you can't just put me in any clothes, any words, and have me step in and transform. And I used to be very insecure about that. I used to feel like an imposter because I would watch actors who were just shapeshifters. They could do it in any circumstance.
Late last night, lawyers for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds submitted papers arguing against Wayfair and against keeping certain records private. One of their attorneys, Kristen Bender, who has been deeply involved in this dispute from the start, attached many supporting materials. These materials were meant to stay hidden from public view. They included sensitive sections taken from sworn questioning of Jamie Heath and Justin Baldoni. Those sections were supposed to be protected and removed from public access. Instead of filing a single cover page saying the material was sealed, the legal team uploaded everything. Entire transcripts were placed on the court record, page after page, without any edits. The file contained more than 600 pages from Jamie Heath's questioning and over 300 pages from Justin Baldoni's session. Because the pages were condensed, with 4 transcript pages shown on one screen, the total amount of testimony released was well over 1,000 pages. None of the private details were blocked out. Some sensitive lines were even highlighted, drawing attention to information Wayfair had specifically asked to keep hidden. This included home addresses for both Jamie Heath and Justin Baldoni. Once these papers became public, they were quickly downloaded by Court Listener, a nonprofit platform that shares federal court filings. The site connects directly to Pacer and allows people to split the cost of access instead of paying individually. After the documents appeared there, anyone could read or save them. A few hours later, the official court system restricted access to those depositions. By then, it was too late. The material had already spread. Right now, those sworn statements exist openly, showing full residential details and other personal data. They also reveal private business matters, such as canceled projects and financial results from a film. All of this information was previously guarded and meant to stay confidential. Releasing it appears to break an existing court order. Given the situation, it does not feel like an innocent error. Out of all the files submitted, these were the only 2 that were meant to be replaced with placeholder pages. Uploading hundreds of pages instead does not look accidental. What makes this even more troubling is that just a week earlier, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds argued that revealing names of outside individuals could put them in physical danger and require added security. Yet now, full home locations for Jamie Heath and Justin Baldoni appeared online. That contradiction is shocking. It also fits into a larger pattern that feels like continued pressure and intimidation. There is no public request from Kristen Bender asking the court to immediately lock down those records. They were simply restricted without explanation. It is unclear whether she contacted court staff privately or if the clerk acted after noticing the mistake. Either way, the situation looks extremely serious from a professional standpoint. The stated reason for submitting all this testimony was to reference a few pages related to a former employee named Shane Norman. He previously sued, claiming unfair treatment based on race. There were also complaints from women about him, followed by an internal review. None of this strongly proves wrongdoing or clears anyone entirely. Releasing massive transcripts for such a narrow point makes little sense. What is especially striking is that the now public testimony contains unflattering descriptions of both Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. It paints them as people with very high opinions of themselves. For example, they reportedly call their penthouse Buckingham Palace, where meetings took place. That detail comes directly from Justin Baldoni's sworn statement and adds another unexpected layer to an already chaotic situation. The meeting took place in what she likes to call Buckingham Palace, a name she used jokingly but also proudly. She said that many famous people had been there, which is why she gave it that title. The location was her workspace inside her penthouse apartment. According to the testimony, she insisted that every discussion happened there. It was usually only her and him in the room. She spoke highly of herself and made comments suggesting that the space was special because so many well-known figures had visited. Both she and her husband used that nickname for the office, and at one point they suggested it came from something Taylor Swift once said. During one of those meetings, held inside her apartment building, there was even a moment where a prayer was said to her late father. The nickname Buckingham Palace was mentioned again, followed by a remark about humility that sounded more sarcastic than sincere. When the topic shifted to pressure and fear, he explained that Ryan Reynolds asked his friend Sean Levy to step in. This happened after Justin Baldoni was not very excited about a rooftop scene that Ryan had written. Ryan claimed the scene came from Blake instead. Sean then called Justin and played along, acting as if Blake had written it. He also gave advice on how Justin should handle Blake while filming. Later, there was another troubling situation involving a call connected to WME. During that time, Justin felt he was being pushed to release a public message. The statement had already been written for him by Ryan and Blake and passed through an agent. Justin understood that if he refused to share the message, serious consequences would follow. He was told that Blake and Ryan would leave William Morris if he did not comply. Multiple calls reportedly came in from the agency repeating that demand. During one of those conversations, the prepared statement was read aloud. Justin recalled that it was strongly implied things would get ugly if he did not go along with it. The phrase, "the gloves would come off," stuck with him, even though no one explained exactly what that meant. Jamie Heath later said these calls were recorded. From his perspective, the agency was being used as leverage. Blake and Ryan had far more financial value to William Morris than Justin did. Ryan earned tens of millions per project, which meant massive commissions for his representatives. Blake also brought in far more income than Justin. By comparison, Justin ranked very low in importance. Because of that imbalance, the pressure landed on him. Jamie was present for two different calls. One involved Patrick Whitsell discussing premiere issues. The other focused on forcing Justin to release the statement. Jamie explained that Patrick and others claimed they were only passing along information they heard from elsewhere, not speaking from direct knowledge. However, the source of those claims were Blake and Ryan, who were describing Justin as dangerous. Jamie said the situation felt alarming and confusing, which is why he secretly recorded the call. He wanted proof in case he needed it later. He said he did not feel physically unsafe, but he did feel exposed and vulnerable. The threat was not clear, yet the tone suggested serious harm to careers and reputations. Later, Jamie described another intense call where emotions were running high everywhere. He said he was unsure what Blake and Ryan might do next. After that, Danny Greenberg called and planned to read a letter written by Ryan. Jamie recorded that conversation too, because he could not believe what was happening. There was also a separate marketing discussion with Sony about the premiere. Finally, Jamie talked about a meeting on January 4th, where Ryan became very angry. The frustration was not about inappropriate comments, but about Justin questioning Blake's claims. Ryan wanted Justin to apologize even if Justin believed he had done nothing wrong. That refusal made Ryan furious, and the tension only grew from there. The speaker explains that he cannot comment on whether Ryan had personal emotions tied to the situation, but he is clear about what he personally witnessed. From his point of view, Ryan's anger was directed at Justin because Justin was not acting the way Ryan wanted him to act in that moment. The frustration showed itself through harsh words and constant talking down. The rage was not quiet or subtle. It was loud, intense, and humiliating to watch. When the topic of the linger on the lip moment came up, it was clarified that this referred to a complaint about a kiss during a film scene. Blake said Justin's mouth stayed on her lips longer than it should have. That was the issue being discussed. What made Ryan most furious was not the claim itself, but Justin's response. Each time Blake said something happened and Justin replied that it didn't, Ryan exploded. Ryan demanded that Justin apologize no matter what, even if Justin believed the accusation was false. The message was clear. Truth did not matter. Saying the right words mattered more than facts. Jamie later explained how this behavior looked from the outside. When Blake started listing her complaints, Justin froze. He was trying to understand what he was hearing. Instead of allowing that moment, Ryan attacked him verbally. Ryan said that when a woman makes such claims, a man should immediately admit fault and say sorry over and over. Justin kept saying he did not do what was being described. Ryan then raised his voice, cursed, and suggested that Justin was a bad person. The tone was aggressive and cruel. Jamie said Ryan spoke that way not only to Justin, but also to him, though Justin received the worst of it. Jamie described it as one of the most disturbing interactions he had ever witnessed. Justin also testified that during the same meeting, Ryan claimed he had rescued the movie from failure. Ryan said the project was a mess before he stepped in. Justin confirmed that Ryan said this directly to his face during the January 4th meeting, in front of others. Later, Justin noticed similar comments appearing in the media. He found it strange that something said privately in anger later showed up publicly, especially during a time when everyone was supposed to be at peace. Justin admitted he never wrote about that meeting because many things said to him were deeply embarrassing. Still, others seemed to know details anyway. He believed someone intentionally leaked the story. The behavior fit a pattern where Ryan always positioned himself as the hero who saves everything. Justin then recalled a call with publicist Stephanie Jones and others. During that conversation, he shared how difficult filming had been and spoke about clashes with Blake. Stephanie reacted strongly in his defense. She criticized Blake and Ryan harshly, describing their reputations as awful. She acted protective, like someone guarding a child. She also shared gossip from the industry, including stories about Ryan intimidating other stars. Justin laughed during the call because it felt like insider talk rather than serious advice. He also told Stephanie about an incident involving a trainer, a misunderstanding about weight, wardrobe struggles, and how small comments became major conflicts. Stephanie did not advise him to be more sensitive. Instead, she attacked Blake's character and defended Justin. Later, others tried to excuse her comments by suggesting she was affected by medication after surgery. The implication was that she was not thinking clearly. In the end, the testimony shows confusion, pressure, and finger-pointing. Different names were floated as sources of negative press, including agents and even authors. Rather than clarity, the situation became more tangled. What stands out most is how much of the testimony paints Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively in an extremely negative way, far beyond the narrow issues they claim justify releasing these records. They do not show any real proof to support what they're claiming. Jaime even asked directly why this information is being shared with him at all. His reaction makes sense because Leslie already testified that Stephanie Jones was the person who contacted the Daily Mail and then rushed to Sony to repeat the story. Based on that testimony, it looks like Leslie and Stephanie were the ones who started the chaos in the first place. Now they appear to be pointing fingers at Wayfair instead. The release of unsealed records onto the court docket does not feel like a careless error. It feels planned, deliberate, and aggressive. Once those materials entered the public space, everything changed. The testimony is now available for anyone to read, and it actually makes the situation look worse for the people who wanted it hidden. What matters here is that this testimony comes from cross-examination. These are not friendly questions asked by Justin's or Jaime's legal teams. These questions were designed to support Blake's claims and also to protect Stephanie's position. Even with that advantage, the answers do not help them. Instead, the statements make several people look careless, controlling, and dishonest. We are also only seeing part of the picture. This is not the full story from Justin or Jaime about their experiences. This is only what comes out when they're being pushed and challenged by opposing lawyers. The deeper questions, the truly damaging details, are not even included yet. Still, what is already visible does not reflect well on Stephanie, on Ryan, or on Blake. The pattern that emerges suggests they were involved in creating the problem and are now trying to force Justin to accept blame for it. The pressure appears from multiple directions. William Morris Endeavor wants these materials locked away. Sony Pictures also wants everything hidden. That reaction alone explains a lot. Powerful companies usually only push for secrecy when exposure could cause serious damage. Now, the reason is clearer. The testimony suggests manipulation, leverage, and behind-the-scenes threats rather than simple misunderstandings. At the same time, the blame is being shifted toward Wayfair, even though the actions described point back to internal behavior. It looks like Justin is once again being positioned as the person who should absorb the fallout so others can protect their images. That pattern keeps repeating. Control, influence, and reputation appear to matter more than fairness. What makes the situation even more striking is that this evidence was released during a moment when restraint was expected. Instead of calming things down, the move signals escalation. It sends the message that restraint is gone and that consequences no longer matter. Yet, the result backfires because public access does not strengthen their narrative, it weakens it. As more of the material is reviewed, more analysis will likely follow. For now, the released testimony raises serious questions about motives, power, and accountability.